If you are ready to start, then I need to give Brianna a thumbs up that we're going to start recording, and then we need to wait just a few seconds. So I'm for the thumbs up. Go ahead, Brianna.
Let's
and it's going to be about 30 seconds before we can start the meeting.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready to roll.
I will do that. Yeah, there's just a couple seconds of lag time between when she starts streaming the meeting and going live and letting the public in.
Okay.
So I think it's been long enough. I don't, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't. We're ready to go, but I'm going to assume we are. So
Okay.
Jerry, go ahead and start.
Okay, I'm now calling the Yelm Planning Commission meeting of October the 19th at 4:01 to order. And Tammy, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, Jerry Fugich.
Here.
Carlos Perez.
Here.
John Thompson.
Here.
John Graver.
He's here.
As is muted, and I believe Floyd Sheldon was with us.
No, I'm still here.
Okay. Sorry, it's my screen. I don't have all my videos up.
Sorry, it was muted.
There we go. Now I figured out how to do it.
And I thought Ann was going to be here, but because she said she was, so she may come later. I would like all of us now to do the pledge of allegiance.
Hold on one
I
second.
pledge allegiance
Okay.
to the flag.
Oh, I was going to bring the flag over.
Oh, okay. Well, we in our hearts, we know where it's at. There you go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
to America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty
and
and
justice for all. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I would like now a motion. We've done the roll call that be approved the agenda. And you have it before you on your screen.
I'd make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, opposed, motion approved. And yeah, you have a copy of the minutes. Has everybody reviewed it yet? If so, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
I second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Public comments or communications, Tammy?
There's no specific public comment or communications. However, at the very end of my project update in the 2020 work plan or 2021 work plan, pardon me, there has been some public communication that is going to be coming before the commission that I would like to talk about, but it's going to be part of the 2021 work plan.
Okay. Okay. So we can move on to the work plan. Okay. Okay, have your undivided attention.
Okay, well, while there's been a ton of things going on, I just wanted to bring the commission up to date with what's going on in the city, what's been keeping us all busy. And so I put together a little PowerPoint of some of the projects that are happening in town so that you are aware of it. If somebody asks you on the street, hey, what's going here? Or what did I see in the paper? Kind of give you an update of what that is. And then at the end, we'll go over the spreadsheet for the 2021 work plan. It's going to keep you all very busy next year. So there we go. So here's just a map of the city, and all of these titles are the different projects that are going on in Public Works. Well, I shouldn't say that. Community Development, the Building Department, and Public Works together. These are not city projects, but these are development projects within the city. Oh, come on, sorry.
Oh,
So moving on to the list of projects, I do have links to photos on all of these except for a couple, but I just want to really briefly go over what those are. Oh, why won't it open it? It worked this morning, but it's not working right now. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go over it this way. On Washington Street, there's a short subdivision. It's 3 lots. It was a house with on one lot that was subdivided down, and they're putting 2 duplexes on it. And if my links had worked like they did this morning, you would have seen that there's 2 duplexes in a single family home on the corner of Washington and Edwards. Windstone Apartments is a 75-unit apartment complex. It's on Tahoma Boulevard. They've received their land use approval, their civil plan approval, and now they're applying for their building permits. So you should be seeing some construction happening there. Washington Apartments is on Washington Street. It's across the street from where they're building the duplexes. This is a 15-unit apartment complex. They also have received their land use approval, civil plan approval, and we're waiting for them to submit their building permits. On Mackenzie Meadows, this is a subdivision that is out, off of Collins. This subdivision was created and there was a tract B for future development. The owners have changed hands and the new owners want to go ahead and subdivide that into 3 additional lots. But in order to do so, they have to do an amendment to the original subdivision to allow development within that tract because of a wellhead radius. The Hutch subdivision, you may remember this, it's been around for a very, very long time, but this is 20 acres that they're subdividing into 118 single family lots. They received their preliminary subdivision approval in 2018, and their civil plans are approved. And with our water rights submission, they're now able to bring their equipment on site and start the construction of 118 units. You also may have noticed as you're driving through town, the Yelm Middle School is going full board on building the new middle school replacement. The new middle school going on this side of the Yelm Middle School property where it's facing Coates. So they'll have that building there. The existing middle school building is going to house the Southworth Elementary students for a year or 2 while they remove and replace the Southworth Elementary School, which is way out here. And then when that is done, they'll take down the old middle school and reestablish their football fields and ball fields in that area. The Yelm Community Schools bus barn, they're expanding their parking lot. They've gone through their civil plan approval for additional pavement and stormwater facilities upgrades. PCOM 911 is putting an unmanned facility at our Public Works facility on Roten Road. It's a building with a generator, and then their antennas will be placed on our water tower as a co-location. They are in the middle of their land use approval, and I anticipate issuing that approval at the end of this month. We have a public hearing coming up in November for somebody that wants to, needs a variance for widening their driveway, wider than our code allows for 24 feet. On Stevens Street, the old Tom, Dick, and Harry's meat market that was there, that is going to be an auto repair facility. We've called it the Stanley Garage. They've got their land use approval, their civil plan approval, and they should begin constructing to convert the building into an auto repair facility. We have also on Stevens Street, right on the corner of 4th and Stevens, is an application for a fourplex. However, with the setbacks required in the C1 zone, they're requesting a variance to reduce the setbacks to be able to fit the fourplex on there, and in order to meet the R16 zoning that applies in the C1 zone. Nisqually Apartments are 50 units of apartments out here on Walmart Boulevard, which is behind Walmart, which is here. And they have their land use approval. We have not received civil construction plans yet. Yelm Creek Apartments, the existing apartments that are on Yelm Creek, they're going to add 28 units on their site. They have their land use approval, their civil plan approval, and hopefully will begin construction very soon. We have an application for an automobile dealership across from Walmart, right at the intersection of 507 and Walmart Boulevard. They have a land use application in, but it's incomplete. It's not been deemed complete at this time, but working with their engineers representatives to bring that application in order to deem it complete and move forward with review.
Tammy, is that the triangle piece?
No, it's a square piece, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This purple piece right here, that yellow is actually a title. It's not a triangle.
Oh, I'm sorry, it goes in. I couldn't see it was yellow. It just looked like a triangle. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
nice catch.
Huh.
Deschutes Coffee is at the location of the Bud Barn, which is behind Rite Aid. They're looking to actually complete their parking lot and put a drive-through coffee stand on their site. They have land use approval and their civil plans are close to being completed and approved, so they can go forward with that, finishing up their site. We have a land use approval for 12 duplex units on Mill Road. It's just kind of across from the elementary school that's out here, and just kind of when you crest the hill.
Right.
We have Tahoma Terra. There's a little bit of activity going up here. Right here on this parcel, they've developed 62 of these lots. This zoning map doesn't show, but there's 62 lots constructed in here. They have approval for 200 lots, 198 lots. But their land use approval, the hearing examiner's decision said that they could not do any construction on here until such time as the city had received its water rights. They're asking the hearing examiner to amend his decision to allow that construction to occur now that water rights application has been submitted, but it is not complete yet. That goes to the hearing examiner on Monday, October 26th for his decision. And then also Tahoma Terra, as part of the master plan community, has submitted their preliminary subdivision application to finish the rest of the Tahoma Terra master plan community, which would include, I think it's 432 single family homes and then 4 apartment buildings, which should be just under 200 apartment units. And so that's all of these things. And my apologies again. I had linked these to photos, but for some reason I can't get them to open. But it's been kind of busy in our office past couple months.
Very busy.
Well, Tammy, I want to apologize. I was 5 minutes late. Can you guys, I think I'm connected at this
Gotcha,
point.
Ann.
Hear
Thank
you.
you. So other things that are going on in the city, and a lot of this is going to come onto your plate as time goes on, but we received funds from the legislature to do some planning work for the Education and Innovative Center. This photo came out of the downtown strategy plan of looking at changing some parking and roadway layouts in town, but they had imposed this little building back here. This is where the current city hall is, and we own the property back behind here on 3rd Street. And so we're looking to do a building there. It's been on the council's agenda for quite some time. And the building would, some of the ideas for this building would be to maybe house the library, also working with South Puget Sound Community College in doing some satellite classes out here, possibly doing some economic development resources. And I think that's about it. Just a lot of different ideas of what could happen within this building. So with the money from the legislature, the city has put out a request for proposals for consulting services to help us do the planning document, to talk about what type of uses would be in there, bringing in stakeholders, doing public participation, and trying to get all the players involved and how best it could work. Once they decide possible or probable uses within the building, then developing a space plan on how best to use the building, and then providing cost estimates for the building when that is part of this planning document. Grant, I know I stumbled through that pretty badly. Can you remind me who?
You stumbled through it
Sounded good to
quickly. We just signed a professional services agreement with the firm BCRA out of Tacoma to do the space planning and the cost estimating. They've partnered with the SCJ Alliance to do a lot of the public outreach stuff. So we've worked with both those firms before. BCRA actually designed the community center. So they know the area. SCJ obviously knows the downtown corridor strategy. So we're looking forward to working with them. It's going to be very process and community engagement heavy. So you guys will be heavily engaged, as Tammy indicated, as we go through the process to figure out what the community would like to see in the building, and then go through the space analysis to see what that would look like if everybody got in. And like Tammy said, the list that we had put together early on was just a thought. It's our thought. That's not the final list. We've got to go through the process with the community to figure out what makes sense there. But it's going to be kind of a fun and exciting process. So we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop and in all of our virtual meetings and endless stakeholder meetings.
Sounds good.
Tammy, I've got a question. And Grant,
Sure.
you know, with all of this development, and I know we've discussed it time and time again, but so the traffic in our city is just horrendous even now. And I know with the loop, that's going to alleviate some of it, but how quickly are we going to put into work the changes that we talked about in our traffic analysis here this past year, so to kind of precede some of this growth that we're experiencing? Because it's you know, you don't want to have what's the old adage, the horse before the cart?
Cart before the horse.
Yeah, there you go.
Cart before the horse, yeah.
There you go. The cart before the horse. How do we have any idea as to how quickly we can do this other stuff prior to getting all this development in? I know that takes time for the development to come through. It probably won't happen for, you know, a year or two or whatever. But what kind of assurances can we have and give to the public that some of these traffic changes will occur prior to that to help this development growth?
Tammy, do you want me to take that, or?
Well, the first thing that had to happen after the transportation, downtown transportation corridor plan was done was to get the projects into our capital facilities plan, which that's what we did and just updated, and council just adopted. So now that they're within the capital facilities plan, we can start going out and looking for funding as funding becomes available. So it's really, we've got it into the plan. Several of the items have already been added to our 6-year transportation improvement program. So now it's just looking for some funding to get some of that done. And Grant, you can add on to what I've missed.
So we're actively pursuing the grants to do some of this stuff then.
To all of it, and this also gets to excuse me, to Floyd's question in chat about the 510 loop, which is in active design right now. So they have an expected add date in 2020 should everything, economically maintain our funding and everything. But we're actively working with the state on that in the ongoing design. Again, they anticipate an add of 2020 and a construction in 2023 at this point. So that's the first step. The other thing, and I'm talking about kind of, I think, Carlos, you were getting at some of the regional traffic improvements, because the developments in town, Tammy, every time we have an application, she runs a traffic simulation to make sure that all the intersections aren't impacted beyond the adopted level of service. But I think the traffic, but our levels of service are actually better than they were even 10 years ago, because the city's invested so much in the mini loop, all the connections that we've made. Actually, traffic is flowing through town on the typical commute much, much better than it was when I first got here 10 years ago, and certainly even 10 years ago. The issue these days is really the I-5 level of service is so bad at Nisqually that anytime there's any sort of blip on I-5, we're the only alternate route, and that's when we get creamed. So it's really not what I'm saying is it's not our development that's driving the big issue now. It's the regional traffic and I-5. Having said that, again, we do review all the local projects to make sure they don't have impacts on our local system. We also have been working diligently with WashDOT, our legislators, and JBLM even to figure out what those problems are on I-5 and to make sure that we're part of the solution. So WashDOT just finished up a corridor study looking at I-5 from Mounts Road all the way down to Tumwater, and kind of extraordinarily, because they don't usually go this far out, they looked at the 510, 507 corridors as part of that study, because we are so key to the downtime when it gets to, when there's an accident. And they identified a number of local solutions that are very high priorities now for both our legislators, our regional transportation organization, TRPC, and SSMCP and JBLM. So we've got a really good community coalition working on making sure that this alternate route is highlighted and continues to be funded by the state. So the challenges are to continue to make sure that the Yelm Loop project is funded, which we've been very successful on. And then the next step, because traffic fixes, just basically you deal with a pinch point and then move the pinch point to the next intersection down the road, which is, in our case, the 507, 702, 507 intersection in McKenna. So the state's the fix that the corridor study has found for that is a roundabout at that location, at that intersection, a roundabout at Vale Road, and replacing the signal at Yelm Avenue and Bald Hill Road with a roundabout. So that's a $20 million project altogether, and that's high on the list. It was just identified, but it's high on the list of all of our legislative agendas for this coming session.
Okay, well, thank you. It's just that, the perception is that we're the cause. We're, part of the problem. And I think we need to do a little bit more education to the public.
I've been doing that education for 18 years. Tammy's been doing it for that.
Yeah, I recall. I know. All right, thank you, Grant. Thank you, Tammy.
And Floyd, did that answer your question?
Yes. Did you say, you're coming in a little muffled, so I'm having a little difficulty hearing you. But yeah, I think you've answered my question.
And Floyd, how about you? I'll take that as a yes.
Oh, and then the last thing, Carlos, is that, funding, we always are looking at funding opportunities. So whether it's a grant fund or a TIB funds or something, we're always out looking and seeing if any of those funding opportunities can apply to any of our traffic projects in our plan. And sometimes funding, big funding for a bigger project comes up, and that's great, but sometimes smaller funding might fund a smaller project that isn't as high on the list, but hey, let's get it done because these funds are available. So really, kind of as the money becomes available, is we look to see how we can apply it to our transportation. Right. Okay, and another huge planning document, and well, it's going to be our lives for a couple of years, is the Habitat Conservation Plan. We did apply for and receive grant funds from U.S. Fish and Wildlife through the Washington State Fish and Wildlife to prepare a habitat conservation plan to address pocket gophers, which are federally listed, and which also can and does inhibit our residential and commercial development. This plan is going to be a huge process. We need to evaluate all the species to be covered by the Habitat Conservation Plan, because gophers are not the only listed species out there, and it may be that we can find other ways to provide conservation for some of the other listed species. We need to Grant, we don't have a consultant on board on this one yet.
No, I'm working on the RFP as we speak. It should be out in the next week or so.
Okay, thank you. So we're working on putting the request for proposal out to get a consultant on board to help us with the public outreach plan, to help us review and refine mitigation issues and opportunities, to collaborate with our stakeholder groups, to do the full public process, and to complete a draft habitat conservation plan. And then with that, we would initiate the draft environmental impact statement and a combined NEPA and SEPA compliance. So this is going to be a huge planning process. And what our goal and intent is to provide this habitat conservation plan citywide, so that if this is done and it can cover the entire city, then we'll have a plan for any person that comes in with property within the city that needs to develop. We'll have the conservation plan that we can work with them to allow them to move forward while still protecting our listed species. And I know that didn't come out as big as this plan is going to be, but it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, not only with our consultants, but our in-staff. As part of our in-kind match to the grant funds is staff time that Grant and I will be doing to help write the plan. No questions?
Tammy, will you be able to send us a email copy of this plan so we can just download it for our computers?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Tammy, is this plan being, I mean, how is this plan being coordinated with the county? Because there are a lot of house owners and property owners that are being held up in their work due to, it could be pocket gophers, it could be one of the other salamanders or something. And I'm just curious, is there a coordination effort that has to be done with this or not? With the county?
And
Well,
they-
Go ahead.
They're separate plans. They have to be, Tumwater's working on their own. There's a lot of overlap though. I mean, biology is biology. So we'll certainly be taking a look at the county's plan where they're at now, and as well as Tumwater's, and incorporate all that science into our HCP. But procedurally, it has to be different than Thurston
Right.
County.
I understand. Thank you.
Planning is plagiarism, in other words. So yeah, stealing the work of others.
Well, it's always, when the work's already been done and proven by others, you can take that and build from it. We've certainly been on both sides of this, coming in and using information that others have determined and worked through. But we've also been, like our water mitigation plan, kind of the leader of being the innovator and coming up with the best available science and moving forward. So don't always steal from everybody else or copy everybody else. Okay, the next project that is coming up for the city of Yelm is our Yelm Prairie Line Trail. We have submitted a grant application for funds to complete the Yelm Prairie Line Trail from Yelm to Roy. It's a 5-mile shared path in the former right-of-way of the railroad. So right now, the Yelm Prairie Line Trail ends at the canal. This is a project that was done several years ago with grant funding to do this 1 mile of trail. So the grant application that we are, okay, internet, we're doing okay, going for is to complete the trail out across the river and connect up to Roy. And that includes the bridge over the canal, the bridge over the river, and the fact that both of those bridges are sound and able to handle the pedestrian traffic that would be needed. And we're pretty excited to go forward with this. It's part of our new parks plan, parks and recreation plan. It's good for the city, and I can certainly let Grant or Ann step in and give a little bit more detail on how exciting this is for the city to move forward.
Grant, you want to go first?
No, you go.
Oh.
You've been instrumental in this.
Okay. Well, the grant proposal that's been submitted to State of Washington RCO is to go from the canal and do a paved trail across the bridge at the river, at the Nisqually River, and get just to the edge of Pierce County. Then, so that one I'm very, very excited about. I had heard that we're definitely in the top 10 of the projects in terms of the projects that have been reviewed and approved to go forward for legislative funds. And I don't know the date of when the funds actually are done. I'll have to wait for Grant to say that. But the second part of it, I mean, that's called phase 2, that one that we're doing right now, which is to get the grant funds to go from the Power Canal all the way across the Nisqually. The next part, which is to go from where the bridge ends on the Pierce County side, all the way to the edge of Roy. That one is being headed up on the Pierce County side by a bicycle organization called Forever Green Trails. And right at this moment, they're working with the National Park Service to do an analysis of all of the wants and needs and concerns, like coordination efforts that would need to be there to be able to do this trail that goes across the Nisqually and into another county. Coordination is some of the things like, who do you call? If you have an accident on the trail, who do you call? Do you call Pierce County Sheriff, or do you call the Thurston County Sheriff, or do you call Yelm? And a lot of that needs to be at least discussed and figured out. It's been figured out before for other trails. It just needs to be done for this one. So the National Park Service is doing an analysis, and they're also running a survey right now of anyone who wants to contribute their views on the trail. So I can send out information to anyone that's interested on participating in that survey. It's a website to get to it.
And that's also linked on our city webpage. So there's a link there to the.
Oh, good. We asked for that at the Parks meeting. I didn't know if that's been done. Thank you. I appreciate that. Everybody's pretty excited about this. That is, it's actually happening. And in Pierce County, they've got it on their county plan to be able to complete the trail. And I think it was 2024 for design, and then to complete construction by 2026. That's what I recall. I might have the dates a little bit off, but that's the Pierce County part. For us, it's much sooner than that on the Thurston County side to go across the river. So for people to be able to see this and to participate and get down that trail and to go actually stand on the bridge across the river, it'll be in our lifetime, not too long from now. So Grant, one question I have had is, when does the legislature review these RCO grants and potentially fund them?
We should, so the only thing I would add to Ann's excellent summary is that our section, we ranked ninth out of all the statewide projects, which is a very good spot to be as far as funding goes. So we're still very confident that we're going to get funded. We should know the first week of November whether we've received the money or not.
Wow,
Excellent.
pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I recommend, go out to the city web, the Facebook page and look at this project, because there's good information there. And I really appreciate the work that Grant's done, as well as the consultant that we've had from SCJ. Is that the right acronym?
Hans Shepard has been working with us on this, did a great job.
And for Mayor Foster doing the presentation to the RCO staff. That was excellent work. So that's where we are.
Awesome. Thank you, Ann. And I know I've heard it, but I kind of missed the fact that this is phase 2 and this is phase 3. So I apologize for that. This phase 1 is what we've done and complete. Phase 2 is the section that the city of Yelm is applying for. And then phase 3 is the Pierce County side, trying to coordinate them all together.
Yeah. It's a complex project going across multiple jurisdictions like this.
And when did you say that that part about getting access to the bridge will be available? Is that 2024, 26?
I'm going to defer to Grant on the dates of when if we get the grant funding, which we should get in November, design and then construction 2021 to 2022. Is that right?
Correct. Within this next biennium, yes.
Okay. So a couple of years.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so going on for the work plan and our comprehensive plan update docket for 2021. This is where I told you that we've had some communication from the public over time. And actually, some of the communication we've had is going to be reviewed by the Planning Commission as part of our 2021 comprehensive plan update. We've had a couple council member requests that we look at allowing drive-throughs in our central business district, and not necessarily just allowing all drive-throughs, but to look at, is there any way to allow drive-throughs for pharmacies which unlike fast food restaurants, maybe may or may not have as much of a transportation impact. We have a property owner in town that has some commercial property that would like to request a rezone, the commercial to residential. We also have another applicant who owns property that wants to look at possibly increasing density or increasing density in the downtown commercial zone, or even possibly rezoning some of the property to a higher density residential. Part of our Unified Development Code update there's been some requests by property owners and developers requesting that the commission look at standards for fencing, looking at our RV and mini storage regulations to see if those might need to be changed, looking at options for tiny homes and other alternate housing, and also looking for fee waivers for nonprofit or subsidized housing. Also, there's been a recent request for us to look at our additional dwelling unit standards, which we already do allow for accessory dwelling units in the city of Yelm, but sometimes our setback requirements make it difficult, if not impossible, to achieve an ADU. So that has been brought back up again. And then what we just spoke about, the habitat conservation plan, is going to be over the next couple of years. Sometime in the next couple of years, we're also going to have to update our transportation system plan. We're going to review street standards, the text needs updated, and do some modeling of our transportation system. And then one last thing, since we did our comprehensive plan update in 2014, we still have not gone through the review with Thurston County as part of the joint plan review and approval. They've been behind on their schedule. We've been a little working hard on ours, so that's going to be coming up in the next year or two as well. So you guys have a lot on your plate. 2021 is going to be a very busy year with lots of things to talk about and to review in your upcoming meetings.
Great.
Thank you for all the hard work that you did on developing this plan and group plans. And so we know we've been working hard while we've been able to sit back and enjoy the scenery.
All right, so I think I turned my screen off, and that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to share my screen and bring the agenda back up. Here we are. Sorry about that. So that's all I have for today's meeting.
Okay, there, I will now go to, I believe, subcommittee reports. Ann, do you have anything further to tell us about the parks?
Well, you've heard all about the Yelm Prairie Line Trail project. And in addition to that, one of the things that we're working on is the Christmas in the Park, and how to have a Christmas in the Park celebration, but do it under pandemic conditions. And so we are still continuing to meet. There's quite a bit of activity with the chamber, as well as with other members of the community, and with the schools. So I believe I asked if there was any, if folks wanted to be able to participate. Well, let me put it this way. I think I've put out some names there. I recall last year that John Graber was interested in something that had to do with the gingerbread house work. And so you might be getting a call, John. And there may be others that might be interested in doing something along the lines. We're doing it all virtually, or as much as possible without any contact. But we're just trying to be creative. So if there's ideas that you've got, please let us know for how to be able to actually have a community event. This is the first Saturday in December that this will happen.
Very close, very close.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other subcommittee reports?
Tree board hasn't met,
Hearing
so
none.
I have nothing.
You have nothing, okay. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
opposed. I now, we adjourn the meeting at 4:48. Thank you very much for all attending, and taking time from your busy schedules.
And
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Tammy,
Thank you.
for your hard work, and Greg for your hard work.
Thanks, guys.